Hi everyone and welcome to today's video. This is a B1 level lesson and today we're going to be learning about the imperative and also using the modal verb should to give advice. So modern life has some advantages and disadvantages. So what does each image show about modern life? Well, in this first picture, it looks like he's eating his lunch, in a hurry. He's on the street. He's got a sandwich in one hand, his drink in the other hand, some papers under his arm, so he doesn't have really time to have a nice, relaxing sit down lunch. Here, the family is enjoying watching television together. And this looks like a person who is buying something online. He's got the phone in one hand and the credit card in the other. So now think about these opinions. Are these things true for you? I think I spend a lot of time in front of screens. I don't have a balanced diet and I don't exercise. I spend a lot of time by myself and I don't see my friends regularly. And I often go to bed after 2 a.m., so I always feel tired when I wake up. Okay, so this is we surveyed a group of students and asked them, what would you like to change about your daily life? And so we're going to look at these answers, and then you can rate them based on your own experience and how you could improve the negative aspects of modern life. So, do you want to spend less time in front of a screen? Do less online shopping? Spend more time with friends and family? Less use of credit cards? Better diet? More regular exercise? Less time sitting down? More time to relax? Better quality time with friends? And more fixed work and study hours. So choose the ones that are most important for you and then about some ways that you could improve in the areas that you chose. All right, so now we're going to read the text and answer the questions. A couple of vocabulary words first. Sedentary. Sedentary is when you're not very active. You just he's sitting watching TV. And active is when you're out doing things, either sports or activities. So these would be opposites. Sedentary and active would be opposites of each other. All right, you can pause the video and read on your own, or you can follow along as I read. Advances in technology have made our lives easier and more convenient than ever before. However, modern life has left many of us with bad habits that were never a problem for previous generations. Add up the time you spend in front of your computer at work and the hours you spend looking at your smartphone or relaxing in front of the TV. Many of us spend most of our waking hours in front of a screen. As our lives have become more sedentary, our eating habits have suffered. In addition, we are not doing enough exercise, our social lives have changed, and we are even having problems sleeping. So, what can we do to survive in the modern world? All right, in the second half of the article, the author answers the question, what can we do to survive in the modern world? It's important to reduce your screen time. Don't check your work emails in the evening. Think about setting a time limit for using social media because it's easy to get carried away. And don't use any electronic devices while you're eating. It's important to make time to do some exercise. You don't have to go to the gym. There are lots of workouts you can do at home. You should consider going for a walk every morning or afternoon. It's important to spend time socializing face to face with your family and friends. If some of them live a long way away, think about calling them rather than just sending messages. Finally, make sure you get enough sleep. Stop using electronic devices at least an hour before bedtime. Consider leaving your phone in another room so that it doesn't disturb you during the night. For each problem, the author offers a solution, and what does he advise people not to do? So he says, don't check your work emails in the evening. Um, don't use any electronic devices while you're eating. Stop using electronic devices at least an hour before bedtime. All right, giving advice. We use the imperative for giving advice. You know that we often use should to give advice and make suggestions. You should eat more fruit and vegetables. You shouldn't spend a lot of hours in front of a computer screen. So we can also use the imperative to give advice. Stop using electronic devices at least an hour before bedtime. Don't check your work emails in the evening. The positive imperative is the infinitive of the verb without to. For the negative imperative, we use don't before the verb without to. So eat a good breakfast every morning. Don't eat a large meal before bedtime. And you notice we do not use a subject pronoun with the imperative. All right, so practice the imperative. Each statement gives advice, so change the sentence and use the imperative. And here's an example. You shouldn't sit down all day, and in the imperative form, that would be don't sit down all day. So go ahead and pause the video, try these on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, this one would be spend time face to face with your friends. Set a daily time limit for social media. Don't eat a lot of fast food. Exercise at least 4 times a week. Sleep at least 7 hours. Don't work every day. Don't drink a lot of coffee. Eat a lot of fruit and vegetables. All right, now we're going to listen to Marissa. Marissa is a psychologist. She helps people change bad habits. We're going to listen to the first part of the recording. Think about what is she talking about and what do you think she will talk about next?
How many hours a day do you spend looking at a computer, a phone, or a TV? These days, many of us find it difficult to control our screen time.
All right, so what is she talking about? She's talking about screen time. And what do you think she will talk about next? Well, she might start talking about any of these topics, maybe in more detail. Okay, Marissa continues talking about people who shop online to make themselves feel good. And so then we'll look at these statements after we listen and decide if they're true or false.
How many hours a day do you spend looking at a computer, a phone, or a TV? These days, many of us find it difficult to control our screen time, and more people are shopping online. The idea of retail therapy is nothing new. Retail therapy refers to the way in which people go shopping to make them feel more cheerful or less stressed, and it has been around for years. Shopping online is convenient, and the stores are open 24 hours a day. For people who spend most of their lives on their phones or computers anyway, it is easier than ever before to become a shopaholic. What can you do if your online shopping is getting out of control?
All right, so many people can't control the amount of time they spend in front of screens. That was true. Retail therapy is a very new idea. That's false. Retail therapy is the idea that people feel happy while shopping. That's true. And according to Marissa, computers make it easier to become a shopaholic. That is true. So, what advice can you give to someone who can't control their shopping habits? So, Marissa describes a modern problem. This problem is growing because we have more and more ways to buy things. It is convenient and quick to buy things online. So, think of 3 pieces of advice to give to someone with this problem. And then see if you can predict what advice you think that Marissa will give. All right. In the last part of the recording, Marissa gives advice for people who shop online too much. So we're going to place these ideas in the order that Marissa talks about them.
Well, for a start, you should stop and think before you buy something. Ask yourself, do I really need it? Or, can I afford it? Avoid buying anything immediately. Give yourself a cooling off period. Secondly, don't have any shopping apps on your phone, and avoid saving your credit details or customer information. If it only takes 1 or 2 clicks to complete a purchase, this is especially dangerous. Next, you should try to identify why you spend so much time shopping online. Are you bored? Do you shop as a way of relieving stress? Think about going for a bike ride or trying out a new recipe instead. Finally, you should set yourself limits, both in terms of time and budget, and try to reduce them every week.
All right. So first, she said, think before buying something. That was number one. Don't use shopping apps on your phone was number two. Think about the reasons you shop online. And finally, set limits on the money you spend and the amount of time you shop online. Okay, Marissa mentions 4 issues regarding online shopaholics. So listen again and link each problem to a piece of advice.
Well, for a start, you should stop and think before you buy something. Ask yourself, do I really need it? Or, can I afford it? Avoid buying anything immediately. Give yourself a cooling off period. Secondly, don't have any shopping apps on your phone, and avoid saving your credit details or customer information. If it only takes 1 or 2 clicks to complete a purchase, this is especially dangerous. Next, you should try to identify why you spend so much time shopping online. Are you bored? Do you shop as a way of relieving stress? Think about going for a bike ride or trying out a new recipe instead. Finally, you should set yourself limits, both in terms of time and budget, and try to reduce them every week.
All right, so people buy things without thinking. Um, so she said one way to do that to reduce that would be don't save your credit information online. It's easy to, sorry, that's not right. It's easy to make purchases. That would be don't save your credit information online. People don't understand why they're buying things. So ask yourself if you really need something. People spend a lot of time and money shopping online, so you can reduce the amount of money, reduce the amount of time. And then people buy things without thinking. Avoid buying anything immediately, and think of doing other things. All right, now we're going to take a look at should and the imperative, the differences between the two. Should needs a subject. It is a modal verb like can, will, and might, so it doesn't change. We should go outside and do some exercise. They should not use their phones at the dinner table. And we often use expressions before should. I think you should stop eating so many sugary foods. I don't think you should stay up until 3 a.m. And so using the I think or I don't think, it's just to make the statements more polite and friendly. And depending on the tone of voice and context, the imperative can be in order or it can be unfriendly. Eat your vegetables, kill the enemy. So now you're going to practice should and the imperative. So if the sentence uses the imperative, then make a sentence using should. And if it uses should, change it to the imperative. So here's an example. Don't work late at night. You shouldn't work late at night. So you can pause the video, try that on your own, and then restart when you're ready to check your answers. Okay, so number one would be you shouldn't work more than 40 hours each week. Don't waste your time on the phone. You should switch off your computer on the weekend. Turn off your phone 1 day per week. You should try to get up at the same time each day. Don't work on an empty stomach, you shouldn't work on an empty stomach. Don't sit down all day. You should treat your body with respect and not eat bad food, and you shouldn't eat bad food. And you should sleep at least 7 hours each night. Okay, Andrew feels stressed. So give some advice to Andrew using should or an imperative. So you can go ahead and pause the video, try that on your own, and then restart, and I'll give you some possible answers. Yours might be a little different, but we'll show some possible answers. Okay, so his boss asks Andrea, his boss Andrea asks him to work every weekend. So Andrew should ask for weekends off. He hasn't eaten dinner with his family this week. So Andrew should eat dinner with his family. At least once a week. He hasn't been to the gym in a month. So we should say go to the gym at least once a week. He eats nothing but fast food on weekdays. So don't eat so much fast food. And he has no energy in the morning. Andrew should get more sleep. All right, so think about the problems and give at least 4 pieces of advice. I start a lot of projects, but I never finish anything. I have so many clothes, I can never decide what to wear. I always say yes to everyone, and I never have time for myself. So think about these problems. Try to give some advice using both the imperative and should or shouldn't. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Please like, subscribe, share, or leave a comment, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching. Bye.